Everybody, I have, this is Adam Conrad, founder of Great Recruiters. I have Joe Cassidy here from Bartech Staffing, and he's our recruiter spotlight here. So, Joe, thanks for taking time to talk to us today.
Hey, my pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. And, hey, met Joe. He's one of our clients, and, what really impressed me with Joe was just kind of his genuine nature and the approach that he takes to recruiting. And I started digging through his reviews and reading what people had to say about him, and it definitely, supported what I felt about him. And Joe has a 4.7 star rating. He's got over 60 reviews and a 44% response rate, which is amazing. And it just shows that people want to share about their experiences working with Joe. So just want to take a chance today to learn a little bit more about you and talk to you a little bit about how Great Recruiters has helped you be successful.
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. So, Joe, give us a little background. How long have you been recruiting for?
So I started recruiting, I'm approaching my 6th year. I started at a smaller firm and transitioned over to Bartech here. We're now a global company. I'm approaching my 6th year here recruiting. So love it.
That's awesome. And I know, like me, I started my career in recruiting, 20 years ago. And, when I was growing up, I certainly wasn't having dreams of being a recruiter. And I kind of fell into it and ended up falling in love with it. And love to hear about how you got into the recruiting space. Is it something you dreamed of being when you were a young boy?
I'm kind of with you on that. That definitely wasn't what I thought I would end up being. I started out in sales. I transitioned over to mortgages, went to finance from there, and then from finance ended up in recruiting. So I've kind of been around the block as far as, my career. But much like you, I fell in love with it as soon as I started. To be able to help somebody better their life and get into a new opportunity is awesome. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, no. It sounds like, you've been in that services industry for a long time, so it seems like, working with people is kind of maybe second nature to you. So, hey, Joe, help me understand, what do you love so much about what you do in the recruiting space?
So, kind of what I was touching on earlier, just being able to help somebody better their life, and step into a new role. And as I know, and I'm sure as you know, a new job or a new career can be life-changing, and a lot of times is life-changing. So I like being kind of the orchestrator behind that and presenting people with new opportunities from, the stage of them interviewing all the way through to the offer letter. It's just so gratifying. And then keeping in touch with people after they've gotten the position and hearing how much, hopefully, they do enjoy it.
Right.
Since I started recruiting, it's been an awesome part of my life for sure.
That's great. And, I hate to say it, but, when I recruited, and I know it exists today, there's these perceptions of recruiters, right? And, I think for yourself, how do you overcome some of those perceptions that might exist? And what do you do differently to ensure that you don't fall under maybe some of those stereotypes of what people might think of recruiters?
Oh, for sure. And, that's something we have to overcome and fight to overcome every day. One of the big things I've done to kind of set myself apart from maybe other recruiters that are asking the generic questions and sometimes get to the point that they can be a little frustrating is make myself the subject matter expert. So these people, when you're talking to them, it puts them at ease knowing that you've made yourself an expert on a lot of industries. I specialize mainly in engineering recruiting. So from the get-go, I'm trying to build rapport and let them know that I've done my homework. I'm consider myself a subject expert on a lot of the positions I recruit. So I think that's the first step in really developing, the rapport and the trust that's needed to go through this process.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that, many recruiters lead with, I have this awesome job. Are you interested? And I always thought, it's always putting my agenda as a recruiter ahead of the candidates I'm working with. What's your approach when you're engaging with new talent out there in the marketplace that might not know who you are?
Well, first just introducing myself and having the confidence when you speak to somebody, and knowing that you, again, to go back to that subject matter expert, and going about it in kind of a casual manner. All you're trying to do is present them with an opportunity. Again, that could be life changing. So building the
Yep.
rapport at first, not going right into, of course, salary or, quote, I have this awesome position. It's more so hearing what they're looking for. People might be looking to travel less or spend more time with their kids. So kind of finding really what they're looking for and developing positions that you can make that happen.
Yeah, and hear what you're saying is, get to know the candidate first, right? It's tough to say I have the best job available if you don't know really anything about that individual. So really getting to know them as a pertinent person and understanding those wants and needs are kind of at the forefront of that conversation.
For sure.
Awesome. And help me understand, as far as types of roles that you recruit for, if there's folks, listening to this, hearing this out there, and they're thinking, I'm looking for a career change. Can you give us a little insight into the types of roles that you work on and locations that you support?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been very fortunate in being able to recruit for all sorts of different industries. As I said, my specialty, I consider myself kind of an expert in engineering, higher level engineers. But I've been all across the board. I mean, from clerical to more hands-on maintenance positions, all the way up to VPs, and again the higher level engineers. So if I haven't worked on something, I always kind of take a look at it and want to definitely increase my experience with it and get better at things that I haven't. But I've been pretty across the board as far as the things I've recruited for.
So you guys have been using Great Recruiters now probably for about 10 months, and just curious, what was your experience or thoughts when you kind of went in and were first introduced to Great Recruiters?
I think we had this conversation last time I saw you, and I was completely honest with you. At first, I was very apprehensive, just because in our industry you can't keep everyone happy. I mean, there's going to be some people that you don't get the job, and they might hold a certain amount of bitterness. So I thought, the majority of my people I know were going to be very happy, not to seem cocky before we started, but I knew there would be the one or two that might sneak in there and leave you.
Right.
But it's been completely the opposite. I've had awesome people leave me very, very great reviews. And I think one of the best things about the company that you started is it really lets you see where you stand. It kind of lets you really be introspective into how you're coming across on the phone. And I've learned some things. I've gotten some ratings, maybe on being an advisor, getting back to people in the amount of time, which I do pride myself on. But there's been a couple of reviews that might have been a little lower than I thought. So I thought, maybe I can really work hard to get those reviews up. But it's been, from the get-go, like I said, a little apprehensive, but it really has been helpful. And I definitely would suggest any firm to take a look at using it, because like I said, it shows you where you stand. You might think you know where you stand, but it really shows you where you stand.
Right. And it really is. It's creating transparency in an industry that does not have a lot of transparency, right? I mean, I know for myself, if I wasn't creating that experience that I had intended, I'd want to know. And if you're not asking, you really don't know where you stand. So it's great to hear that you kind of embrace the fact that feedback's coming in. And it's always easy to get the great reviews, right? It makes you feel good. It kind of validates what you're doing. But help me understand, how do you handle receiving those negative reviews? What do you do kind of, as you said, introspectively, and what do you do to kind of follow up when you get those kind of negative feedback?
The other individual that I talked to just wanted more consistent feedback. And, in my opinion, I thought I was going to provide it, but with some people, they want to be checked in with every day, and that's completely fine. I mean, if we're here, we're performing a service for somebody, and like I said, we're trying to become life changers and subject experts. So if that's what it takes for some candidates, then I definitely can do that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's part of that upfront conversation of understanding how do you want to be communicated with, what's the best method of communication,
Right.
how long, between those updates. As far as help me understand, since using Great Recruiters, how do you think it's kind of helped you continue to be a successful recruiter out there? What has it done for you to kind of help you even gain more success?
Like I said, just a matter of shoring up some of the categories that I might not be as high as I want to be. Really working on following up with people on a completely regular basis. I actually set calendars for myself now, calendar invites for myself now, so I'm following up with the people that need to be checked in with maybe a little bit more. As far as referrals, I've received, last time I checked, I think 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken, referrals from people. I haven't, had been lucky enough to get these people jobs yet, but I do have people that I'm considering for jobs, and these are people that we didn't have in our system. So that's a great tool. I mean, you always ask somebody for a referral, or at least I think it's best practice to ask somebody for a referral on every conversation you have with someone. But sometimes that referral doesn't come to mind right away. So I think Great Recruiters is also a great tool, because when the person goes back to do the review on me, oh, maybe they remember that person that they worked with in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and list that person. And yeah, so it's worked out great for referrals. And again, just a tool to kind of really let you know where you stand with these people.
Good. Yeah, and so part of the review process is as candidates provide that positive review, Great Recruiters prompts them to see if there's any other candidates they can help. And, that's the other thing, as you get those positive reviews, it's a great opportunity to thank those individuals as well. And if they didn't provide a referral, what an opportunity to thank them for taking their time to provide you feedback. And,
Sure.
Hey, is there anybody else that I can help out there?
Yep, I agree.
Good. And any other success stories that you can kind of share with us as a result of using Great Recruiters? Anything that comes to mind that was just kind of like an aha moment for you?
But just like I said, not to reiterate too much my feeling, but it really gives you an opportunity to know where you stand. And sometimes you get done with a phone call and you think in the back of your mind, man, that was great. And then maybe 20 minutes later you get that review and you're like, okay, there's things I can go back on and kind of analyze and make it better for next time. So it's a great tool to let you know where you stand.
Right. And how do you think this differentiates you as a recruiter? Because I mean, not many recruiters are asking for feedback and being as transparent as our clients are. And so, what do you think that does for the candidates you're engaging with when they get that review request and they say, "Hey, Joe actually wants my feedback"? What kind of impact do you think it has on them and yourself as a recruiter?
Well, I mean, I think anyone respects somebody that tries to be the best and the top in their industry. I know I do when somebody goes out of their way, whether it be at a store for customer service or, working with somebody here in recruiting. I think, if anything, they're impressed. The conversation goes as it will on the phone, but afterwards, I want to know how I did. And in their mind, I know that they should be thinking, man, this guy's trying to do better for his candidates, trying to make himself better on a daily basis. So if anything, I'm sure they're impressed by that.
Good. And just kind of close, anything that, we obviously love feedback, right? That's the nature of what we do. So, any feedback for us, anything that you'd love to see Great Recruiters do more of for yourself and for our other clients out there?
No, I mean, if anything, I think this what we're doing right now is really cool. I'm somebody that learns from other subject matter experts in our industry. So I think, our conversation right now can be a learning tool for somebody that maybe has just started out. Again, I'm approaching 6 years in. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to log on and hear you talk to our industry leaders, people that are recognized as great recruiters, as top recruiters. So, you adding little ideas like this with the recruiter profile, I think that's awesome. I think you should continue doing stuff like that. It'd be definitely very beneficial.
Awesome. Well, hey, Joe, I really appreciate your time today and taking time out of your busy day. I know you probably have a list of candidates to follow up with and calendar reminders of check-ins. So definitely appreciate your time and speaking with us here today. And just wish you the best success. And we're definitely here to support you.
Hey, right back at you, Adam. I really appreciate you, setting this up. It's been my pleasure, and feel free to reach out if you need anything else from me. Okay.
Sounds great, man.